Everybody, welcome to Ron Report. Awesome guest today. I've known this guy a very long time. Two-time Arnold Classic champion, Mr. Olympia runner-up, father of two, hardest training bodybuilder of all time, at least one of them. Hell of a guy. Please welcome from Texas, Branch Warren. What's up, Branch?
What's up, Ron? Thanks for having me back on the show.
Oh, man, I appreciate it so much. You know, I say your name about 50 times a day because of this guy, Branch. Yeah. He said,
there you go.
It's a badass dog. He needed a badass name, so we went with Branch.
That's cool.
I actually want to start by something I just saw you at New York Pro a couple weeks ago, and I realized the magnitude of what you accomplished at the 2012 Arnold Classic. I don't think it ever got its real just due, because I remember Kevin Leveroni tore his pec in early '93, and he went on later that year to take fifth at the Olympia, and he won one of the Grand Prix shows. That was an amazing accomplishment. But you tore your quad in August of 2011, and you came back the very first weekend of March 2012 and won the Arnold Classic, which was, I think, 6 months and maybe a week or two total.
6 months and 2 weeks from the day I had surgery to the day, from the day I tore it to the day I competed. So
yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I was usually when I was about 8 to 10 weeks from the Olympia and the Arnold, I didn't travel, and I was doing a favor and for a guy out, promoter out, he one of the judges, rope man out in Georgia, and he asked me to guest post a couple times, and so I was like, you know what, I kept putting him off, so I was like, all right, I'll do it this year. I said, I'll fly on Saturday, I'll fly out Monday, Sunday morning, or that's like got done time. I was gonna try to fly back the same day, right that night, and catch a red eye, and so anyway. I never traveled. I was in great, I just got second at the Olympia, won the Arnold Classic, and I was in great shape 30 days after the Olympia, and I had really set the bar pretty high for myself, for that Olympia, and walked out of a restaurant. My friend who picked me up, he said, "Hey, I'm hungry." Of course, I had all my food with me. I had a whole cooler full of food, so I'm like, all right. So we pulled in there, and I'm eating out of my Tupperware, right? And we walk out. It starts raining real hard. He goes, "Yeah, I'll get the truck and pull up front." And he pulls up front. I walk outside, and as I step off the curb, I just slipped, dude. I mean, it was just a freak thing, right? And never had a knee pain in my life at that point. And I slipped, and it's just that concentric force. My left foot went out in front of me. My right foot caught the lip of the curb, and I'm still sliding forward, but you're tightening your quad trying to stop yourself. Yeah. And that concentric force just went pop, and I hit the ground, and I'm laying there in a thunderstorm. My friend's like, "Get up, dude." And I'm like, "Dude, I can't." And I knew right then. So I reached back and grabbed my leg was laying in a weird way, and I remember I grabbed my knee, and my quad wasn't there no more. Yeah. And I'm like, that ain't good. Yeah. And in our sport, that usually is a career ender.
Right.
So, I didn't know. I'm sitting there laying in the rain, and my buddy gets out and picks me up and helps me get up, and I get in the truck, and I'm sitting there, and he's like, "I got it, tore my quad." He goes, "No way, man." And I'm sitting there, and you're sitting in the car, and if your quad's completely detached, you can't straighten your lower leg.
Right.
Can't fly, and it wouldn't move. And when I do it, you can see my quad muscles all pull up higher. Yeah. And it didn't feel very good either. And I'm like, "Yeah, bro, this ain't good." And I was meant to go to the hospital. I go, "Man, they can't do nothing."
When I tore my quad last August 30th, and until that happened, and I went through the whole process of recovering from that, I didn't realize how quickly you were able to rehab, recover, get the size back, and get in shape and compete and win the Arnold Classic. I mean, it's astonishing. I wasn't even touching a weight for, I don't know, because we're on the same timeline in August. I don't think I was touching a weight at all until like December, and that was like baby weights. How, what were you doing to accelerate the healing? How quickly were you able to get back to training?
So my surgeon told me I came out, I flew home Saturday night, Sunday morning, I saw the surgeon. We did surgery Monday morning and had it reattached. So, 2 days post tear, it was reattached. And I said, I told him, he'd done my triceps and everything, my previous injuries. And I said, "Hey, look, this thing can't just be functional. It has to look right." I said, "If it don't look right, I'm done." And he told me it'd be a year before I could just think about competing.
Wow.
And he goes, it'll probably be, he goes, 6 months before you can, train hard. He goes, "I know how you train." He goes, "It's going to be 6 months probably before you can, train hard."
Yeah.
He goes, "At least a year, probably more like 18 months before you can think about, being off stage again." And that's not what I want to hear. So,
yeah, of course.
Because I'm thinking, I worked my entire life to get here. I'm like this close from winning everything I ever dreamed of.
Yeah.
And I sat there and, we had the forums back then. And so, and I'm sitting there looking at the stuff. Of course, everybody's blowing my phone up, because the word's out and this and that. And I wasn't answering the phone. And I'm sitting there with my legs in a cast. And I'm sitting there, I start reading this stuff. And everybody's basically writing my obituary, from all the self-declared experts to the gurus to the, everybody's like, coulda, shoulda, woulda, but ain't going to happen. And I started getting mad. I sit there. Every time I read, I just get madder and madder and madder.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking in my head, I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, fuck all y'all. Like, I'll be the one. I'm like, I consciously remember sitting there on the couch. My bulldog was laying beside me, and I remember thinking, fuck all y'all. I'm like, I'll be the one to decide when I'm done. No one or nothing is going to define me, and no one's going to tell me when I'm done. Like, I'll be the one to decide when I'm done. And that week, that was on a probably Tuesday or Wednesday. It was a Wednesday. And I looked at Trish and I go, I'm doing the Arnold Classic. She goes, in 6 months? I go, yeah. She goes, we better start eating. And she went and cooked me a big plate of chicken and rice and put it in my lap. And I started training. So I was already in great shape, because I was 30 days from Olympia. So I never really got out of shape. I just kept training. And that Friday, I think it was that Monday. I rested the rest of that week. And Monday morning, I showed up at Metroflex with Johnny. And he goes, yo, man, what are you doing? And I go, fucking training. And he's like, all right, let's go. And I remember I did chest that day. And, I remember we're doing dumbbells. And I couldn't pick the dumbbells up because of my leg. So he just hand them to me. And I did 180-pound dumbbell press, Monday after surgery. And I took my leg and I propped it up I had a bench. I just laid back, propped my leg up. He'd hand the dumbbells to me. Fucking, we just went.
Wow.
And leg day, I trained my left leg. And I didn't train with Johnny on leg day, obviously, but I trained my left leg. And then when it came, I had to wait 6 weeks for the tendon to reattach. And then after that point, you start rehab and you can start getting range of motion. And it sucks, you went through it. Getting range of motion sucks. And it fucking sucks. And I went to Brian. I said, hey, I need help on this one. I can't do this one by myself. And probably the best thing I ever did was put it in his hands. In 32 years, we've only had one disagreement. It was about how to train my leg. And it was if he wanted to do it this way, and I said, no, I think we should do it this way. I want to do more isolation stuff and focus on that because I, had atrophy and all. You know how it is. Everything atrophies up. And he's like, no, we need to do it like this. And we had this debate and back and forth. And then I came in the next day and we had the whole thing all over again. And so, I think the best decision I made was I was like, it's in your hands. Fucking tell me to do it, I'll fucking do it. Wow. I'm gonna eat rocks, I'll eat rocks. And he's all right. And that's the best decision I made. So I think I went to one physical therapy session. That was a complete waste of my hour of my life. And I walked in there and then she's like, are you getting anything out of this? I'm like, no. She's like, do you want to continue? I'm like, no. And I left and went to the gym and trained. And so we Faye, big thing is getting range of motion back. Once you get the range of motion back, then you can train. Yeah. And so I trained and just the most painful thing I've ever done because I came back so quick and I was pushing myself so hard. And I knew I was going to be able to compete. I didn't know if I was going to be able to compete successfully until probably the first weekend in February when I was about 4 weeks out. Wow. And because I didn't have the fullness back in that leg yet. And so I was in shape, conditioning, all that was there. Yeah. And when I was about 4 weeks out, we posed after I trained. And I remember I looked at Brian, he goes, you're going to win. I'm like, yep. And I did.
Storyline. All right. So I'm going to play that clip. So make sure you unmute your mic along with me. Let's take a look at the 2012 Arnold Classic. Oh, it's not muted. You can hear me, right?
Yep.
Okay. Sometimes it mutes, sometimes it doesn't. So here, you were the defending champion, but nobody expected you to look anything like your usual self at this show. It was like, if you had just sort of showed up and just made it on stage, that would have been a victory. But man, you go ahead and you win the show. This was outrageous. What's going through your head here? Because it looks like you were angry up there.
Man, I kind of was. because everybody had talked so much, trash about me, and so I was here to prove them. I think, at one point in this routine, I had LL Cool J. It says, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years.
Yeah.
And I actually stuck that leg out there and I shook it and I slapped it just to put it in everybody's face. Like, yeah, y'all said I'm done. I ain't done. And so I think it's coming up right here. Just when I do it.
Yeah.
And,
right. I saw you did it in the prejudging too at one point.
Yeah.
Slap the leg.
Because everybody's looking, and I knew my leg looked good, so there was really no difference. And so everybody's scrutinizing you. So the worst thing you can do is try to hide something.
Right.
And so I'm like, I just put it in their face because I'm like, look all you want, fellas. I'm back, and I never left. And I was, I was on a mission. I put a tremendous amount of pressure on myself at this show because I knew if I didn't see, I'm doing it right here.
Yeah, there you go.
Cool J saying, don't call it a comeback. I've been here for years, and I thought that was appropriate. And they're right here.
Yeah. Amazing. Yeah.
So I put a tremendous amount of pressure on myself, and because I felt if I couldn't come back and win this, then the dream was over.
Right.
And so I just I've been working since I was a teenager to get to this point, and I meant it when I said it. When I was done, it's gonna be on my terms. And I told Trish, I said I have to win. I go, there's no second place is complete defeat.
Wow.
I said I have to win. There's no alternative.
Yeah.
And that's the hardest I'd ever trained in my life in that competition. And by far physically, as far as pain goes, that's it was just a lot of agony. But
that's what I want to ask you, because I'm just barely getting back to what I consider heavy leg training now, and this is months past what you were doing. Was your knee in pain? Were you training as heavy as normal? How did you deal with that training for that show? Because you're known for your leg training. Yeah,
so the intensity was there. Was I as strong as I had been, prior to it? No, but I was squatting 405 for 12 reps probably. Yeah. I still wasn't back anywhere close to 100%, but I was still training hard. I'm still going to failure on everything. I'm doing drop sets. I'm doing heavy leg press, squats, hack squats, walking lunges, all these things that I normally do. And it just and every week I was getting better. I was getting bigger and getting stronger all the way up to the week of the show. And so that, like I said, it wasn't until 30 days out where I was like, okay, I can do this.
Amazing.
So and I told myself, if I can't come back and win this thing, then it's gonna be a problem. And because if I can't win the Arnold, why even go to the Olympia, right?
Yeah.
So fortunately I was able to pull it off.
All right, well, that's a great transition to the next topic. We'll get into current events after this, but I got one more blast from the past. 2009 Mr. Olympia was, good Lord, if Jay Cutler hadn't come back, looking better than I think he ever had before in some ways, you would have been Mr. Olympia that year. Think about this. This is who you beat in that show. You beat Dexter Jackson, Kai Greene, Phil Heath to be second place that year, 2009. Not many guys can say they even beat Phil Heath. Not many people ever beat that guy in his career. I want to play that clip because this was pretty crazy when you came out. So watch your microphone again. Oh, no muting again. So yeah, this is what you look like. You were the first competitor out on stage too. So it was just shock and awe. Jaws were dropping. Everyone was saying, holy shit. Yeah. Was it, do you consider this your best ever?
I think the 2009 Olympia, this show right here, and the 2011 Arnold were my two best. I think the 2011 Arnold Classic was the same. I don't think it was any better, but I think it was the same. I was the same weight, same conditioning, and I think it was very, very comparable conditionings. I think Jay came back at his all-time best that year. I think it's his lightest weight he'd been at the Olympia, but it's also his best conditioning.
Okay.
So the 2009 Olympia, Jay came back at his best ever. Dexter was a reigning Mr. Olympia. Of course, that lineup, you had Phil Heath, who went on to win 7 Olympias eventually, and Greene, and Dennis Wolf, I think, was there, and there was I think the top 8 was stacked.
Dude, yeah, those are some crazy Olympia years.
And, I knew I was going to do good, I didn't know where. And one of my friends told me, who's always shot me straight, he said, "You're gonna be first or second. He goes, you're gonna win or get second." And so they did the call outs, and I mean they called Dexter in third, and I remember thinking, I just beat Mr. Olympia, and
Yeah.
then I had no idea. When they're calling it out, I had no idea. Jay prevailed and got the title back, but it's second place. Olympia is the worst place in bodybuilding. So anybody who's ever got it, and they'll tell you.
Yeah, I mean, have you ever talked to Kai? Obviously knows 3 times. Flex Wheeler a couple times. Kevin Levrone 4 times. Sean Ray a couple times. So close. I mean,
Yep.
But for a guy that was never supposed to win the Mr. Texas, you did pretty well.
Right.
Let's see. I want to put up a 2009 again. Yeah, this was another version of the 2009 Olympia. You can see it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, was there anything special about that prep? I mean, were you like more focused? I mean, I think you always look great. I never saw you condition-wise off. I never saw you look bad ever. But there was just something extra that year that was like, wow, things were just popping, like that magic lightning in a bottle thing with the fullness, the condition, everything was just, the planets lined up. So what was different?
I ate more food.
There you go.
Yeah, to sum it up, I ate a lot more food. I always ate a lot of food.
Yeah.
The pro bodybuilder, you have to, but I ate so many carbs that year. And I remember my wife, Trish, going, "Are you going to get in shape eating all this food?" I said, "Well, I'm going to give it and if I'm not seeing positive changes, then I'm going to scale it back." And dude, I just kept getting better and better. And so diet-wise, not that any diet's easy, but this was, at that point, the easiest diet I'd ever done. And I felt great. I mean, I was strong all the way up to the show. Just felt great, man. It was, and I just, it was, I'm going to say I cruised into the show, but, the training was great. I was strong as crap the whole way. No injuries, healthy, and it just all fell in place.
Yeah. Was George your coach for that show or no?
That was the first show I worked with George. And, he had me eating so much food. I'm like, it was like a struggle to get the food down. And I have a big appetite. I'm like, and I remember I'm like, "Dude, you sure about this?" He goes, "Trust me." I said, "All right." And it worked. So we went on the next, 4 or 5 years and won pretty much everything but the Olympia.
Yeah. No, we spent a couple days, it was 12 years ago now that we were both with Gaspari at the time, and we went around. I saw you eat many meals, and I've never seen a human being eat so much sushi in particular at that one place. It was like a boogie board full of sushi. You ate the whole thing. Unbelievable. But yeah, I mean, I just want to ask you about that era, because I think you were in, we talk about the 90s. I'm a few years older than you, and the 90s were an amazing era, but the era that you were competing in, we had, look at this, you had Jay Cutler, Kai Greene, Phil Heath, Dexter Jackson, Dennis Wolf, Evan Senapani, Victor Richards, Tony Freeman, Rolly Winkler, Sean Roden. There's some guys I'm sure I'm forgetting.
Victor Martinez.
Oh, I said Victor. Yeah, I mean, I think it was an incredible era for bodybuilding. Nothing against this era. I think we got some great guys now, but the few years where you were at your peak of competing, I think was one of the best eras of my lifetime as a fan.
Yeah, it was stacked, man. I mean, it was there was nobody sucked. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like everybody was good, like really good. And I don't have a bunch of those guys you named off. Almost all those guys, they won an Arnold Classic and/or Olympia.
Yeah.
So they went down as some of the greats of the all-time greats of the sport. So man, it was really a great time to be in the sport. And I couldn't ask for better. And the thing, when you compete against guys like that, it makes you better. Two things happen: either you fall by the wayside, or you got to elevate your game, to compete. And it definitely made me a better bodybuilder and better competitor.
Yeah, do you think, we had Phil, like you said, Phil won 7 in a row. Prior to that, we had Ronnie, an 8-time champ, Lee Haney, an 8-time champ. In the past 7 years, we've had 6 different Mr. Olympias. Do you think in our lifetime, hopefully we'll both live like another 30, 40 years, we'll ever see somebody that dominant that'll win 7 or 8 times again in a row?
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. I think what we've lacked is, there's some guys out there I think have the potential to be like that.
Yeah.
that they're missing a part of the puzzle. They're missing one piece or this or that. I think take somebody like the problem with Derek and Hadi is the size. They're short, right? So you take a guy like Samson, he comes in peeled.
Yeah.
Like big guy always beats a good small guy. Jay beat me. I was harder than him, but he's bigger. And that's bodybuilding, guys. And so that's the problem they're going to have is one of these bigger guys, brings it, they're going to have a hard time. So I think when there's a lot of young guys up and coming. You're starting to get some. We had a few years there where the depth was pretty shallow. Now we're starting to get some depth, and at the open class, and I would be surprised too if we don't see some of these classic guys move up. You take somebody like Uris. I saw him at New York Pro. He was 238 pounds or something.
Yeah.
Dude, just as hard as he did at 212 or whatever when he competed. And I'm like, he goes, "You think I could do open?" I'm like, "You already are." So
that's hilarious.
So I think you may see some of those guys, step up too. And those guys have structurally they're great. So will it happen? Yeah, somebody will come along that's going to be super dominant.
Could be your baby boy. Who knows? But we'll see. Yeah, let's get into current events. Going to go to your Instagram page, and let's see if I can do that properly. I bet I can. Come on now. Yep. So guys, this is the Branch Warren. If you don't follow him, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you following him? 908,000 followers. That's pretty damn great, Branch.
I wish I'd have jumped on Instagram earlier because my Facebook page has like 3.2 million.
Oof! Wow, Facebook.
Yeah.
Amazing. So, yeah, Instagram's it's only been around, I think, 10 years, if that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's a great picture. This is your daughter Faith and your new son Morgan Branch, correct?
Yep. Correct.
So same middle name as you, Branch. Your name is William Branch, correct?
Yeah, he's actually named after my grandfather. My grandfather was Morgan.
Yeah. Did you think what about naming him just Branch? Was that ever a thought?
No, it was my wife came up with my daughter's name. We never had like a debate or a discussion about it. When she got pregnant with our daughter, she goes, "I want to name her Faith Lee Warren," and Lee is my mother's name and her mother's name too. So I was like, done. And then with this one, it was no question. I was like, I want to name him Morgan Branch.
Fair enough. It's a great name. Two great names, Morgan and Branch. But so you're now Faith is 11, is that right?
12.
12. So that's a big gap. Did you guys? I don't want to get too personal. Were you trying at all, or did you decide like later on, hey, another baby? Because you're both fairly young in the scheme of things, but that is a big gap.
We practiced like hell for 11 years.
Perfect answer.
We finally got it right. Now we both wanted to have another child. I wouldn't be opposed to having another one. I'd like to have 3 kids.
Right.
I love being a father and being a dad. It just we after Faith, we tried and it just didn't happen. And so we kind of gave up. And then we're sitting there having breakfast one morning. She goes, "I think I'm pregnant." I'm like, "No way." She was.
Wow. Yeah. And you guys have been together for 25 years, right?
Been married for 19 years, and golly, it's been 24 years.
That's an accomplishment in itself, guy, these days. Let me tell you.
Yes.
That's the day of the birth. So what was this, December? When was he born?
He was born February 28th, almost a leap year. Yeah,
wow.
so I was on my birthday's February 26th. I just didn't want him being born on my day, not because of me. So and I was a little worried he's going to be born on a leap year. So
yeah, because that messes people up because they could be 40 and technically they're only 10 years old, right? Or is
that right?
Something like that. Yeah, man. Cool. Congratulations, man. I mean, it's any one child is a blessing. 2, I mean, everybody dreams of a boy and a girl. I think, if you're being honest, I think everybody would like to have a boy and a girl.
100%. That's wanted the same. We want a boy and a girl, and blessed. So
yeah, because I'm sure of course you love that, you love your daughter, but every guy wants to secretly would like to have a boy to pass on, everything you've learned in your own life and everything. Because
you get something. I think there's something. Boys and girls are super different and good, and that's a good thing. get something for both of them. I think you give something to both of them that's different. Um, and I'm just glad I have both, and they're both healthy, and hopefully Morgan will be up, be smart too, and just want to hang around long enough to see the man and woman they grow up to become.
Right on, man. Yeah, I mean, you just turned 49 this year.
49.
Yeah, you're still a young guy, Branch. You're still a young guy. So this was interesting. You started a whole new type of competition, cutting horse, which you're going to have to explain to me because I don't know what that is. I know like lasso. I know like bull riding. What's it? What is horse cutting or cutting horses?
All right, so it's cowboy stuff. So basically, when like all these big ranchers out west, Texas and Oklahoma, Montana, a place like that. So when they have to work the cattle every year, right? So cattle are herd animals, so they want to stay grouped up in a herd. So if you have a calf with a mama cow, and you need to give it vaccinations and work them and do all that stuff, then they're not going to just let you walk up and get them, right? Plus, mama doesn't want you messing with her baby, so you train your horse, and you go in there, you ride into the herd, you push out the one you want, you separate it from the herd, and then they'll rope it and give them those shots, vaccinations, all that kind of stuff, and then turn them back loose into the herd. Obviously, with cutting, it's just a cutting. You're not roping them or doing anything like that. So you train your horse, and so you're both being judged. The horse and the rider are being judged, and so you go in, you cut a cow out. You got 2 minutes and 30 seconds. You have to cut at least 2, no more than 3, and you have to hold the line. And your horse is being judged on how well he cuts and how he moves, and and the rider is being judged obviously how well he rides, and so it's super competitive. To give you an idea, the National Cutting Horse Association, the tour every year, there's $180 million in prize money.
Woof! Ha! Wow. Yeah, that's pretty amazing.
And some of these horses, like that horse that you showed me that I was previous picture.
Yeah.
It's my buddy's horse actually, and that horse costs more than most people's houses.
Oh, this is the one you're competing with, Hawkeye?
Mm-hmm.
How much did you say this horse is worth?
He's cost more than a lot of people's houses do.
So
yeah.
You're talking six figures,
yeah.
High six figures.
Yeah.
Wow.
Right. So
yeah,
he's won. A lot of money been won on the back of the horse. So.
Wow. Yeah, cause I'm so naive. People forget. I forgot. You actually grew up on a horse ranch, didn't you? You grew up taking care of horses.
I grew up on a cattle ranch. Yeah. So we had horses, and part of the ranch wasn't accessible by vehicles. So we had horses. You had to go out and check on the cattle, check on the fences, and do that kind of stuff. So that was just a way of life. It's a vanishing way of life, but there's still these big ranches, still very pretty common in places, especially West Texas and the Panhandle and out west, those western states. It's still pretty common way of life.
And these competitions, like rodeo, is such a big thing. I had no idea because I'm over in Boston. I didn't realize there's a whole part of the country where this is huge. One day, I don't know if you were there. You must have been at the Olympia that year at the Mandalay Bay. One of those years, we were there at the same time as like a big rodeo convention.
National final.
Yeah, and I was like, I mentioned to one of the people at the hotel. I said, "Is this a big deal?" They said, "Are you kidding me? It's like 3 times as many people here as for your Olympia thing." I'm like, "Oh, okay." And I think one time I looked up the prize money. I was like, "Oh my gosh, this is ridiculous! This is big money."
Big money. And then the horses. If you have a successful horse, you win a lot of competitions on, win a lot of money on it. These guys get these horses, and especially if it's your horse that you came out of your mare or something, then you win it, you do well, you can sell it. Some of these horses go for Metallic Cat, which is the top, I think, all-time horse. A few years ago, sold for $30 million.
Wow, jeez. So let's talk Wicked Cuts, man. Wicked Cuts. You've been doing that for I want to say like 7 or 8 years now. Is that that long?
6 years. It was 6 years.
Yeah, and it's almost, maybe it is mainstream. I mean, it's in a lot of places where you can buy like regular beef jerky, like all those. What kind of places is it distributed in now?
So we're everywhere, man. We're on Amazon. Bacon jerky is #1 on Amazon. We're in Albertsons. We're in Walmart. We're in Giant Eagle. We're Pilot 5J truck stops. We're in GNCs. We're in vitamin shops. There's another major convenience store chain we're about to get into, just to name a few. So we're doing really, really well with it, man. So super happy. It is, it's not like supplements. It's mainstream. We're, and our goal is to be in every gas station in the country.
Wow. And didn't Joe Rogan promote it on his podcast not that long ago?
He did, man. He had it on there, and I guess the owner of Black Rifle Coffee was on, and Rogan pulled out and say, "Man, you like jerky?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Man, try this. This stuff's legit." And that was super cool, man. That was.
Yeah, he's got the #1 podcast in the world by far. And yeah, the bacon must be by far the top seller. It has to be. Am I right? Oh, can you hear me? Oh, I lost you. Oh, there you are. Sorry. Took your mic off for a second. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, the bacon, is the bacon flavor your top seller?
It is. We have 5 different flavors of bacon. Maple bacon is our one, and we're #1 on Amazon, and it's our #1 seller, period. So it took a while for people to kind of understand what bacon jerky is, but I remember me and my partner Scott talking, and I said, we both agreed, man, that this is going to be our big seller, and it is.
Yeah, I mean, I remember when you sent me samples a couple years ago, and gosh, I went through that bacon in like about 10 seconds. It was that good.
It's like eating popcorn, right? You can't stop eating it.
Yeah, but there's this is the one, volcanic jalapeno. You got to be a brave human being to eat that stuff. I'll tell you that right now.
Ain't too bad. It's the Carolina Reaper. It's the bad one. It comes in the red bag. It has caution on it. All that. It's a bad deal, man. But there's some crazy people out there they love it, and it sells really well. I mean, there's those people. Some people love spicy stuff, and it kicks my butt.
Yeah, I mean, my stomach. No, I can't. My esophagus does not like that stuff. But God bless those people that have those. Some people they go out of their way to find like the hottest ghost chili, whatever the heck pepper is out there. What else I want to ask you?
We have ghost pepper, and Carolina Reaper peppers, all 3. Carolina Reaper. Because people are complaining they're hot enough. I'm like, not hot enough. So we got not hot enough.
Yeah, this is I want to ask you about your company. You've had WRN. Do you call it Warren or WRN Nutrition?
Warren. Sorry. Yeah. We've had that since we launched in December, and it's been we launched with a pre-workout, and got plans to expand and come out with a full line here the rest of this year. So working on that. Actually just got out of a meeting about that. So
nice.
Come out with a full line of supplements, and that's my next venture.
Yeah, I'll tell you, man. You had the shipping company. You've done so many different things outside of just being a bodybuilder. We talk about Jay, and Jay's the prime example of somebody who really made a huge success after bodybuilding off the stage. But you should be in that conversation too, as far as I'm concerned.
No, I think bodybuilding, competitively, if you've 10 years, 15 years, that's a pretty, if you're blessed to, just live an average lifespan, pretty small period of your life. So I got a lot of living to do afterwards. So you got to work. So
this was a couple weeks ago in New Jersey. The Gasp team got together. So you've been with a couple supplement companies over the years, but you've been with Gasp, I think, longer than any of those by far. How long have you been with Gasp? It's got to be like 20 years now, close to it.
16 years, 2008.
Wow. Yeah. So tell me, like, it seems to me like it's more of like a family environment where, Michael and all the guys train together, travel together. It's not just a clothing brand that, a bunch of nameless people.
Very much a family culture there. He's Michael's a great guy. He's one of the few people left on the business side of it that still loves bodybuilders and loves bodybuilding. He's a fan. He was a bodybuilder when he was younger, and he just loves the sport, loves bodybuilders, and so it's he loves it. He loves going to gyms and being around the fellas, and he gets kind of reminds me of like a Joe Weider, loves the sport.
Yeah, I mean, you've been with them so long. When I think of Gasp, I actually do think Branch Warren. You're like the first person. Johnny too, of course. But
even if I wanted to, I could never go with another clothing company because I'm so about that. It's married to Gasp.
Yeah. Last thing I want to ask you about is a contest promotion. How long? So you've got another one coming up on my wedding anniversary in a couple of weeks, the Branch Warren Classic in Houston. So
Mhm.
how long have you been a contest promoter now? It's been a while.
My 17th year to promote
Wow.
the Houston show. I've got Houston, June 29th, our 17th edition of it.
Yeah.
Then I've got Denver. We had our third show in Denver this year, which was super successful back in May. And then we have the Better Bodies Classic, which me and Brian have, and of course Michael's also. I brought him in on it. It was our second show this year with the Better Bodies Classic in Dallas. So the Houston show, probably one of the biggest shows in Texas. Because we don't have just the bodybuilding show. We have powerlifting, strongman, jiu-jitsu, an expo, all these other events. So it's really a fun event.
Do you feel like your experience, your past as a competitor, made you more suited to give the athletes a better competitive experience than maybe some promoter who had never done it themselves?
100%. I think I remember going to pro. Now the Arnold and Olympia are different, but a lot of pro shows, I mean, they didn't get treated very well. You go backstage, there was nothing to warm up with. There was they didn't have water, they didn't have anything for you, so it's pretty bare bones, But at the end of the day, you're there to compete, and you're a professional, so you should be prepared. But my thing with this show is to take care of the athletes. That's with all my shows. Me and Brian talked about this before we had it. I said, let's take care of the athletes. We take care of them, everything else will fall in place. And so I want to give something back to the sport. So I want to make sure they have a good experience, and everybody can come and compete. And then, I realized too, after going to the Arnold so many years, that not everybody wants to be a bodybuilder or a bikini competitor. So I wanted to create a platform where people could come and compete in their chosen sport, whether it be jiu-jitsu or strongman or powerlifting or CrossFit or whatever it is. So we're always looking for new events and to add and expand our reach. And the one common theme is, fitness. Everybody needs to work out.
Yeah.
Whether if you don't want to be a bodybuilder, I get that. But everybody needs to do something.
Right. Well, man, you have been very generous with your time, Branch. I'm sure you want to get home to your family, your daughter, your baby boy, your wife, all that good stuff. So thank you so much for taking the time, Branch. Always enjoy talking to you. So glad that you're still very active in the sport, because you're one of those guys, you could do anything. You could have done real estate, whatever, anything totally unrelated, but you still give back and you stay active in the community. And that really means a lot to the fans, especially the fans who knew you back in the day.
I love bodybuilding. I've always been a bodybuilder, and I always will be a bodybuilder. And I can't see that ever changing. So, you can't ever forget where you came from.
Cool, man. All right, well, follow Branch on The Branch Warren. If you're in the Houston area, of course, you want to go spectate or compete in the Branch Warren Classic. I'm sure there's links on there you can check out. So, man, again, thank you so much, Branch. Congratulations again on your second child and all your continued success. One of the hardest working men I've ever met in my life, and I'm proud to know you. That's all I want to say.
Thank you, Ron.
All right, everybody. Thanks for watching Ron Line Report with this man, the legendary Branch Warren. We'll see you next time.